Welcome to the Creative Entrepreneur Show. What do we have this week, Bryon?
Hey, Rosh, happy to join you here as two creative guys talking AI. And I am fresh off a speaking event this week. I talked about AI to a group of real people, actual humans. It was amazing.
Nice. And
And,
we should make note every week that we are real humans. I think
yeah,
after this show, it's going to be even more important. But continue.
I'm still picking my jaw up off the floor over what you just showed me 5 minutes ago. So I promise everyone listening, be on the edge of your seat because something just dropped. But hey, speaking of my speaking event, the main concern that a lot of the questions that people had there was about privacy. I wanted to talk about data privacy and some stuff while using AI and just some kind of frameworks for that. And then also, I've done a little bit of a comparison, comparing the main two players, and from what I've seen in the AI world of ChatGPT versus Gemini in
Mhm.
image recognition, and one of them won hands down.
Okay.
And we'll have to wait and to see, who
Who
won.
win that bet?
But
Right.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, what do you have going on?
Well, hey, Google just dropped Notebook LM, and it's notebooklm.google.com. I'll have it in the show notes also for everyone, and it will blow your mind. And what I'm going to do in a few moments is I'm going to cut into our podcast and I'm going to play a little section of what I'm just about to talk about. It's just so people can get a better sense of it and why we're both like, holy carp.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
so what it does, you can put in a link to a web page or a link or upload, say, a PDF, which is what I did, and it'll analyze it for you, which is great. We've talked about that with
Mhm.
Chat GPT and others that you can upload things and it'll analyze, do a good job. This will even give you topic ideas off of this piece of work. It'll give you questions to ask. Oh, really nice. But then over on the right side, it says create an audio element. And what it does is it literally creates a podcast.
Mhm.
And it's not reading your document, it's analyzing with two very engaging voices and people that talk about this document. So I have a document that was that I created for my community, one of my communities, and it was amazing. So
Mhm.
let's take a listen right now.
Okay, so get this right. What if there was a way right now to tap into like a market force, a force that's been quietly delivering over 1,000% return since, well, the 90s?
And I'm not even talking about some, risky tech stock or another crypto craze here.
No, no, buckle up because today we are diving deep. We're talking about the hidden potential of what's called the overnight market gap. And we're going to be using insights from this SPYT trading document. It came out just recently.
So those were not real people. Those were AI. It took about 8 minutes to digest the 14-page PDF that I had written out. And then they just talked about it like this with analogies I hadn't even thought of,
Right.
making it easier. Not only that, I shared this with you, Bryon, with a friend of mine who was interested in this project of mine, and I've explained it to him before a few different ways, and he listened to 5 minutes of the podcast that I first created from that document, and he's like, I get it now. It's like I had no idea what we were talking about before, Rosh, but
Right.
this these two people talking about it, I totally get what you're trying to do,
Yeah,
and
I mean, there were
that's
figures of speech in there. I mean, I listened to it a little bit with you here
yeah,
before the show, and there's, even the answering, the confirmations. There's, even you could tell what generation these people were from based on the
right,
quantity of times they use the word like.
right,
There's just certain
yeah,
things like that
yeah,
in there that it's unbelievable that it's this unique voice, but. That's why we have to remind our audience again and again, hey, we are real people. Check out our YouTube channel. This is
yeah.
not animated.
Well, but
Um,
sooner or
Unreal.
later, we won't even be
Yeah.
able to tell that.
Yeah.
We have 2 years is what they've been saying lately,
Yeah.
and you will have your own AI bot, and you'll have all that. But that's why it's becoming more important. to distinguish yourself as human. But here's the thing. This is a couple things that I thought about. One, this is just one element. It produced by analyzing this document, it created a lot of interesting content. And there's a lot of new types of content that will be developed. Now, one thing, just like with other AIs, we start to recognize DALL-E 2 or 3. We know the work. We know where it came from just because it has its own style. And this document maker or this podcast maker from Google only has 2 voices. It's the same 2 voices. So you're going to hear that style. Now, I've done 2 of them, and I'm actually going to take 2 pieces because I updated the document and I had him do it again, and it took out different parts of the document and talked about different parts of the document. So I'm going to combine those 2. So, but you're going to start to hear these voices over and over again. And they're very good voices. Eventually, those voices can be changed and will be changed, I'm sure.
Right.
But for now, the thing is, there's going to be so many creative ways to share information. And we're going to need people to help people figure out how to do that. Yeah, they can upload something, but maybe they'll want to do it a couple times and take a couple opinions or podcasts and do what I'm talking about, editing it out and improving it. Well, that's a whole new genre. There is nobody that is right now saying, I'm for hire to edit your AI podcasts.
Yeah, that's a whole new potential.
That is a brand new industry right there.
Yeah.
There may be for your AI video a little bit, but that's developing. So AI is going to create a lot of stuff, but we're going to need people to make decisions. And that's what we have been saying the whole time. And I thought about this, that's just one thing. There are going to be so many different things that AI is going to be creating for us based on our creativity and needs and what ifs. What if AI could do this? What if a program could do that? And there will be more and more specialties. And so there may be someone who just edits your AI podcast, run it through a couple times. Here's the document that we created. It's a couple pages. Can you create a really good AI conversation based off of this? And so what you'll do is you'll run it through a couple times and then you'll edit the pieces together. Or maybe you'll get it right the first time. But you need somebody to make that decision before it represents your company or you. What do you got?
Right. And, one of the most important words you just said is that it's creating a conversation. Yeah. And this is a whole new concept of something creating an interaction. And, many podcasts have become so popular because this is how people learn, by listening to people have a conversation. Yes. When pertinent questions are asked back at the right time. And, it's part of the reason why you had me join on board with you a year ago is so that way it wasn't a single person monologue just talking about something.
Yeah, ranting.
Ranting. I mean, we can throw these words around here, but the fact that we have genuine conversation every week, and that's what this is actually creating back is conversation, and it's unbelievable, the context. And like you said there, that your friend of yours who now understands more of what this product or service is, it's because he listened to the conversation of it back and forth, and unbelievable. So,
all right. So what do you got, Bryon?
Hey, you know what though? This was groundbreaking enough that it's fine for us to jostle our format and our formula here. But yeah, because that's really cutting edge and next level. And even think about that. The conversations that you are having outputted to you as a podcast, you can then have it synthesize that into a transcript and then analyze the transcript to say, create headlines or create the best analogies or, to take out the best analogies to explain your product that it now thought of, that, like you said, you now have a few new analogies in your head of ways to explain what it is that you're doing better. So unbelievable. Yeah. So again, like I said to you, I feel like after listening to that little snippet of podcast, I'm nearly as floored as I was when we had this meeting in November of 22 and we first started talking about ChatGPT. Yeah. So I think it's that big of a deal. So, well, good job, Google, because you know what? I was actually about to talk bad about you a little bit later in the
Oh, go
podcast.
ahead. They need a
Well,
little
no-
humbling.
All right. Well, then I'll skip to that one. All right. So we're on a good roll here. I have been playing a little bit of like pin your AI versus your AI and discovering where your strengths and your weaknesses are. Because we have all these tools around that are available, and we hear things like, Meta's AI is really good at writing social media content. Gemini is just really good at blogs and writing and creativity. Whereas ChatGPT is kind of that really good at everything, but still, in my opinion, still that pinnacle.
Yeah.
So one of the main things that I use AI for is image detection. I like to upload images, and I talked about this months ago on the show with my father's surgery, where I had a picture of just his charts while he was in the hospital after open heart surgery, and got to get updates just from its image detection and see what's going on. So I did a little experiment where I have my guitar pedal board. It's got like 25 pedals on it. It's absurd. And but every one of these pedals is and should be a recognizable brand and a commodity.
Mhm.
And I honestly thought that Google or Gemini was going to win this comparison because we've had that Google image detection in our Google search, in our apps for years.
Right,
So
right.
I actually thought they'd be a bit more advanced in this regard, and I was wrong.
Mm.
um, ChatGPT took the image of my pedal board and recognized correctly every single pedal,
Wow.
both the model, the brand, and gave a little bit of information about that pedal.
Wow.
Whereas Gemini, out of the 20 plus pedals, guessed about 6 of them, said, "Well, this is an orange one, and I think it says this on it." Spelled things wrong,
Well,
didn't
that's
get a
why
single.
you bought it, because it was orange, didn't you?
Right, exactly. Yeah, it makes the things go. but,
Exactly. It's
but
orange.
yeah, but that's all it thinks that these things do. So it really so then I played with a few other things, or I just took pictures of, like you did when you went on vacation there, or went on your journey a month ago or so, and took an image and said, "Hey, where am I?"
Yeah.
And I did a couple of those things around, around the yard with maybe some flowers and different
Yeah.
things like that. And ChatGPT was right every single time, and
Yeah.
Gemini was right about 20% of the time.
Yeah. 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 And
So
go around my yard, just like you have a big yard. We both have big yards now. I joined the club, and you can wander around, and there are so many diverse plants and things you just don't recognize, and you wonder what is it. And just taking a picture of uploading it is pretty. I would say, yeah, it was right about 75% of the time. There are times, oh no, that couldn't be, but give it a few more pictures, and it got better, and it figured it
right.
out. So
Yeah, give it a little more information. So, but like you said, and even I'm looking at this Notebook LM website that's up on one of my other monitors, and that it's based off Gemini 1.5 Pro. So that might even be an updated version of Gemini. So maybe we'll give this a little more credit where credit's due as these iterations keep updating.
well, that's
But
all text though. I mean, so that not imagery. So, but
yeah, that is a good point. But yeah, so I would say I was underwhelmed. Now, here's a little caveat: the Gemini that's in the Google app on my phone, I don't pay a penny for.
yeah,
Whereas ChatGPT, I pay $20 a month.
yeah. Gemini
So
Pro is an advanced version. So yeah,
okay, so there we go. Might not be apples to apples that I was comparing, but this was certainly an instance where ChatGPT was far superior.
and because I am the sucker I am, I do pay for all those, and I do. So maybe I'll do a comparison and
Oh,
then
please.
report back.
Yeah. You're like the cord cutter who ends up paying more per month because
Yes,
you've got
exactly
every
right.
single individual. Right.
Exactly right.
I like it. So, all right. So we weren't just talking about Google Notebook LM. You mentioned another website to me. I think it
Yeah,
was you.com, right?
yeah, yeah. How would you like all of the models? Well, that's you.com. Not all of them, but quite a few. U.com for $20 a month will allow you to use Claude, all the versions, allow you to use Llama, allow you to use Gemini, as well as Chat GPT. So, including the preview, all of them are available.
Yeah.
And it gives you, you break it down, and you have some that are just smart, quick responses, or genius stuff, problem solvers. And they have one for research. They'll tell you which ones are best, or creative. And now I did creative. And remember when we said we can kind of recognize where the imagery has come from? I'm assuming all the creative is coming from DALL-E 3.
Okay.
It's very obvious that it's coming
Yeah.
from DALL-E 3. It would be nice if we could get some Midjourney, Flux, and others in there, but not right now. So, but it is kind of nice. I mean, you can see the whole list of models, and you get, so for the same price you're paying for Chat GPT, you can do that. Now you can go there right now, and it'll give you some limited access, like so many prompts per day. Like I think it's like 3. But again, it's a nice option for those who want an overview of everything that's going on. It's, just maybe another $20 out of my pocket each month moving forward. So we'll see how that goes.
But
But
hypothetically, should the $20 a month for this should make it so maybe you could cancel some of the other ones if you have access to it this way, right? Yeah.
yeah, excellent. Like if I have enough I wouldn't cancel my open AI stuff, because I also use the open AI, in their playground, their behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
That's where
Yeah.
I used it before Chat GPT was the thing. I was actually using Chat GPT, but it was called something else. It was in the playground, and so yeah, but maybe for Gemini, for example, or
Right.
I don't have access to Llama, or I haven't used it. I may have access. I don't use it, but I may use it for some specific things, or try it out for some comparisons. So it would be a really good comparison tool to have available. So yeah, I may cut the cord of one, probably Gemini,
Okay.
and see if that will satisfy my need for Gemini. Consider I looked at it the other day, and I really don't use it that much. So
I love how frequently our topics are kind of similar to each other, because this
yeah,
is all about comparing one AI to another
yeah,
and having all of the options and knowing, just like having a full toolbox, and, each, there's a specific tool for each task. And,
yeah,
we're going to start to learn more and more, which vehicle we need to take in the AI world for what it is we're trying to accomplish. That's
yeah.
cool.
So
Great.
yeah. What do you got
Very
next?
good. All right. So when I did my speaking event this past week, I talked to a room full of people. There's some people on Zoom as well, and just pretty much about what AI is in general, kind of base level. And the main, whenever I do a speaking event like this, I always leave it kind of open to the room. If anyone has questions, raise your hand, and I can stop and answer. And the questions that kept coming up over and over again were all about privacy concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So, the generation of people that I'm trying to, convince to use this, they don't trust what's next.
Yeah,
And that's legit. I understand where they're coming from.
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
so,
don't put it in the system if you don't want to be trained with your stuff.
right, exactly. And precisely to that, I asked Strawberry, because this is one that didn't require, me uploading any documents or anything like that. This was high level reasoning. And I said, hey, I did a speaking event about AI. There were so many privacy concerns in the room. Can you give me a framework of overall, privacy concerns, and what is ChatGPT doing on their end to ensure, people's privacy when stuff gets uploaded?
Right.
And I was very curious to see some of the answers that came back.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really care for ChatGPT's non-definitive language.
Yeah.
So it said, like,
Did you use Strawberry, or did you use O?
I use Strawberry for this
Because
answer.
this is where I would say consideration. Strawberry, the latest information is a year old. So
Oh, that's the one that's limited by its age.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Now there are some things that in terms of training that's limited on O. However, it has access to the web.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
And
look up new information if need be. I don't know. I don't know if one would give the better answer or not. My only thought was that one has access to more current information about what they are doing about these things, because this is such a fluid topic. A
Right.
year ago, information is totally different than what it is today, just based on political and
Especially
business.
this past year.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you up, but that was a thought that came to my mind about that.
Understood. Yeah, important consideration for sure. So, but yeah, this is what it says ChatGPT does with its stored data, is it typically removes any sort of association to a person to make sure that it's anonymous, any information that's given, but I didn't like the fact that it said it typically removes. So
You're right.
that wasn't a defining term. ChatGPT claims no ownership to anything that's uploaded. So they claims that, and that you have user control. You have the option to ask ChatGPT to delete any data that you have uploaded.
Oh,
Now, will it be a
where do
complete
that?
deletion of that data? I don't know, but
Just-
you can actually request that it deletes data.
Now, do you ask that right in the prompt
Yeah.
box? Okay. All right.
Yep. Yeah, I did a follow-up question to it and say, how do you ask that? And it's a prompt. Just say, hey, whether it's, you go to a previous chat and say, hey, delete anything from your database about this chat, or, even saying, delete from all previous chats. But it didn't quite confirm on that one. So, but that's a prompt you can ask it.
The skeptical old guy in me is like, I'm
Yeah.
not sure about it. I think
Well,
it's just giving you lip service there. Okay.
Yeah, well, and it's a non-definitive kind of thing. So, but then it went into best practices and said, well, obviously avoid sharing any sensitive data, any trade secrets, any financial records, obviously anything HIPAA related,
Yeah.
for healthcare and stuff like that. So you just want to have your best practice of it. But then it started to say, hey, there's enterprise level options of ChatGPT where you have higher levels of data security offered to you.
Hmm. Oh,
So
sales
these
pitch.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sales pitch to try to spend more. But then it gave the option of a local LLM where everything is done on the machines. And we've talked about this before,
Oh,
where
right.
people can
Yeah.
create their own local LLM, large language model, their own, AI to be able to analyze their data internally and then create things. So I'm in some of the steps. I've kind of stalled out a little bit on doing that internally here. But I actually need to talk to you separately about that, some coding
Sure.
concern. But and then lastly, just risk assessment. With whatever data that it is you're putting up there, and what could somebody get from this? And do you want to just absolutely cut your risk to zero, or can you fudge some different information that might tie it back to a company or someone? So just kind of go through your data and everything. And then lastly, this is something that we go to again and again with AI is just you can ask it questions. Be like, hey, I'm not sure about uploading this. What are your thoughts to the data security of it? And, it hopefully shouldn't be trying to trick you and be like, yes, everything's fine. Give me your data. But it should be transparent if you're asking it about any concerns.
All right. Very good.
So, yeah, thank you. So, but yeah, I know we've got a couple people who have reached out to us to join us potentially on the show as guests, and we're looking forward to that. So we're trying to book hopefully one here, maybe if not in September, by early October. But we have our website, creativeentrepreneurshow.com. So if anybody wants to be a guest or has any questions or anything you want us to cover, if you're listening to the podcast, please remember that we have a YouTube channel as well, so you can join our 4 or 5 subscribers now.
Oh,
No.
hey,
We're getting up there.
7 now, I think. It's
Ooh,
actually,
nice.
yeah. I mean, we're getting there. It's actually growing, and
Yeah.
there are we're getting more views. I mean, we're actually getting more views. It's actually starting to compete with a number of other socials that we have out there. So that's really good.
Very exciting. And then, we're going to start also cutting some of these up and providing some shorts and reels for people as well to just try to get to some of the pertinent points and be a little more to the point. So if you see those on your socials or on, on your YouTube shorts or anything, please like, comment, share. It helps us get the word out about the show. And we appreciate it.
All right. Well, head on over to creativeentrepreneurshow.com and you can connect with 2 creative guys talking AI.